Hi, I'm Pat. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about crafty things I'm doing. I was trying to post more often, but the last month has been a little crazy. So life has been lifing, as they say. Anyway, here I am with updates on a few of the things I've been working on. Don't remember if I updated this last time. I was doing some of the worry worms. This one was done with 2 strands of acrylic worsted weight. I put little eyes on him. I just used black yarn to put the eyes on. And here's a tiny one with just 1 strand of worsted weight acrylic. These are great for, I need to sew in the ends. These are great for using up scraps of yarn. And as you can see, you can make them different colors. This one is, you can see the size difference there. The other crochet thing I was working on was this blanket that you can see. I can't find the pattern book now to tell you what pattern book it came out of, but it's just single crochets and single and doubles alternating, and using this yarn Bundle of Love. This is their color Mermaid variegated yarn. Here's what it looks like. It's a good toddler blanket, really. It's about 36 by 36, maybe a little, well, 36 by 40. And then with extra yarn I had on that, wanted to use up the rest of the yarn, doing this big granny square blanket where you just start in the center and go round and round. And it's just pretty simple granny square. Both of these were ones to do. They're kind of mindless crochet. This one, and this is a worsted weight, I think. Yes. And then this one, I put an edging on it of a few rounds of half double crochets to make it look a little nicer. I think the pattern that I was going to, I had some kind of like roughly edge, and I didn't really want that. So that's crochet. I'm going to try to make this kind of quick. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast. I did finish knitting something. 2 socks, a pair of socks. These are cotton socks. They are made with, and I don't have the label for whatever reason, Summer Sock by Laines du Nord, D-U-N-O-R-D. That's 2 words. I don't know if that's Laines. I do not know. They're 88% cotton, 12% nylon. And the colorway is colorway 106. And it has pink. It also has this yellow. The colorway, if you see it online, it says 106 teal, berry, sage, pink, and aqua. So it's got a light pink and a yellow, and yeah. So I have a lot left over because these becomes 80 grams to a skein. Well, I didn't want socks up to my knees for summer, so these are shorty socks. I did them toe up. I used this book by Denise DeSantis, No Fear Sock Knitting. She has a YouTube channel called Earth Tone Girls or Earth Toned Girl. Earth Tone Girl. Earth Tones. I'll put the link below. She does a really good job. I did a Turkish cast on, her explanation of how to do the cast on for toe up, and she has a toe up sock in here. And then the heel she used is the Shadow Wrap short heel. It has twin stitches and twin and triplet stitches, and she explains it all. It has good pictures. She does a good job of explaining what those look like. So how you do the decrease, the short row, so you end up with a nice heel like that. And then I just did a 2x2 rib. Once I got up to like, okay, that's about where my shoe is. I just did a 2x2 rib till it got up high enough to be comfortable for me. I wore these the other day and I was really happy with them. Okay, one of them, the cast stone the toe does not look the same. I think I got something switched, but I can't tell it when I'm wearing them. I don't feel it. When I wore them the other day, they were very comfortable. So I'm pretty happy with them. See a few strands there that I'm not happy with. So I want to use the rest of the yarn. So I'm going to see about getting me some solid color. There's not enough here to make shorty socks at all. Not 2 socks. Because this took a little more than 45 grams. I think it took about 50 grams. So I'm going to get some cotton and nylon blend in a solid color to do, really just do most of the foot, at least the toe and heel, or maybe do the foot and the leg and use this for the toe, heel, and cuff. I haven't decided yet. But I'm very happy with those. They came out pretty much even there as far as where the color is. So I do highly recommend this book. She has some other sock patterns in there, but she has your basic vanilla sock and a lot of explanation about sock knitting, and she has really good videos. So the other thing I've been working on is a basic adult poncho. This was a paid pattern that I got on Etsy by Shaina Bilow Designs. I think it was about $6. It is well worth it. She gives you good instructions about how to cast stone. It's neck down, top down, and she gives like 4 different options for the neck and for the bottom edge. And there's shoulder shaping, and then there's a seam. It looks like a seam down the front and the back. She does stockinette stitch, but the value of the pattern is it's giving you how to change for different sizes, how to make the neck, if you want the neck smaller or larger, how to do that. And when you do your increases and when you stop doing them for the shoulder, because you only increase down to a certain point for the shoulder, and then the length, she gives suggestions. It can be, she gives instructions for DK weight, worsted weight, and chunky weight. And then border patterns, 4 border patterns. But she tells you how many stitches to cast down depending on the weight of your yarn and what size needles you're using. I'm using a worsted weight and I'm using US 9. So, oops, this is what I started with. This is, that's, oops, upside down. That's the neck. I made the neckline a little, like an inch larger, if that. And this is an acrylic. It's from Michaels. It's called Loops and Thread Acrylic Soft Classic. The colorway is Taupe, Taupe, lot 507. Not that you care about the lot. It's machine washable, of course, being acrylic. I know I've used a full skein, and then I used part of another skein. Because I had started using this for some other project, a frog. So I was thinking I would go down a certain amount and then switch to another color because I knew I didn't have enough of that and I didn't want to go buy more. And so now I'm pretty much at the end. I'm about to do some, since I did ribbing at the top, I'm probably going to do ribbing at the bottom. And that's this color. Let's see if you can tell. See, it kind of blends. It goes together, I think, okay. And that this is at the bottom. And this is Loops and Thread Impeccable. Because it's what I had on. It's a worsted weight. it's also, the color is soft taupe. And it is also, I believe, is also 100%. Yeah, it's also 100% acrylic. And I think I just started the first row of that color. I'm using a very long circular needle, but still, you see that it's, it's going to be bunched up on here because because you're doing increases as you go along. Not every row, but you're doing increases. So, it's getting wider and wider because that's how ponchos are shaped. So I think I'm going to I'm doing another row of stockinette. I may do one more row of maybe one or two more rows of stockinette and then start my ribbing, which I am doing I think it's a 1x1. Yeah, it's a 1x1 ribbing. Life has been a little stressful lately, and this was really nice to work on because once you get a few rows in, you start seeing you know what you're doing. It's stockinette, and you know when to do the increases, and you don't need to look at the pattern again. You just knit. It's starting to get a little big because it is hot. It's hot everywhere, and I think the northern hemisphere right now. I don't think it's any warmer where I am than it is most other places. In fact, I think some places north of me have worse heat than we do. So it's getting a little heavy. But this was helpful. So under a lot of stress, I've got another pair of socks on the needles, but even though it's just a vanilla sock, it still requires tiny needles. So I was really happy to see this. Months ago, I made a poncho with lots of different colors. I showed it on here. Just scrappy. I don't like it. I haven't had a chance to wear it because it's been warm, but I realized I don't really like it because it was blocks and they're seamed together and some of the seams are puckering. And just the way it ended up looking, I'm not happy with it. So I think I'm going to frog it and do one of these in scraps. I had thought about doing it like colors in the rainbow or the color wheel, put them in order, but I have some light blue and dark blue, and so I think I'm just going to frog it, and then I'm going to set the yarns out into a pleasing arrangement. And so I kind of break up some of the value, or I may just put them in a bag and randomly pull them out. I don't know that I'm going to do it, but I think I'll make another one with the different colors. This is on US 9 needles, so I was out of town last week because of a family member who's having some medical issues. And I had just started on this, so it was a nice thing to take with me and while sitting and waiting. And I'm just knitting away, and I go to show it. So I had it about down here, and I go to show it to somebody, and I had some really inexpensive, really cheap needles, circular needles that were metal, and one of the tips just fell off. Oh. So I knew there was a couple of yarn shops nearby, and I managed to go to a yarn shop, and I got some new needles. These are Luca, some people say Lykke, Lykke, fixed point US 9s. I think this is a 40-inch circular, and I enjoy it because it went up at the top. When I was at this end, I was having to do magic loop for quite a ways because the circulars were too long. But pretty soon you get to the point where you need the whole circle. And obviously it's knitted in the round, it's not knitted flat. She doesn't have instructions in there about how to knit it flat if that's your thing. But that would be a lot of purling if you wanted the stockinette. But I'm really happy with that. I'm happy with how it's looking. I wanted a poncho so that during the winter I could just throw it on if I need to go out to the car, to the mailbox, or go to the store, and I don't want to fiddle with a coat, or even just wear around the house if I'm sitting watching TV. I do have a couple other things on the needles, but I didn't bring them in here. I just wanted this to be a short update. I may be out of town again soon. Well, I know I will be. It's just a matter of when. And I think I'm going to cast on some. I have some DK weight sock yarn. I think I'm going to cast on some DK weight socks, and I'm trying to decide if I want to do cuff down or toe up. Either way, I'm going to do a forethought heel. So because heels still take a lot of my attention, so that's when it's like, let me not be working on a heel when I'm hanging out with other people. Under a lot of stress. It's just too much. I keep scratching my arm. My arm is itchy, and I don't know why. I did go to a different yarn shop I had not been to, a new to me yarn shop. If you're ever in Western North Carolina, between Cherokee and Asheville is an area. There's a town called Waynesville, and there's also a little town called Maggie Valley, very tourist area. But Maggie Valley has a little yarn shop, the Maggie Valley Yarn Shop. I went in there. Also, in the past, Waynesville has a yarn shop, and it's called Tangled Dragonfly. Another really nice shop. They, I don't remember what brands they have, but they're on Instagram, and they have some beautiful yarn. And then I noticed there was another shop in Waynesville. I didn't go into it because I didn't crochet. I don't spin. There's a shop, I think it's called Fiber Arts of Waynesville. It's near Main Street. If you ever go to Waynesville, look, just search for Fiber Arts. And they have fiber for spinning and felting. It looked like from their website, they carry just one or two finished yarns. But most of what they have, if you're into spinning and felting and want some raw fiber, based on their website, they seem to have quite a bit. Maggie Valley is a nice town. A lot of the buildings are like 1950s type motels. But there's it's very laid back. It's not far from the Cherokee Casino. But it's lots of little local shops. Waynesville has a main street, and they lots of interesting shops down there. Lots of good local restaurants in that area. If you ever go, there's also Lake Junaluska is a Methodist retreat center. The grounds are open to the public. There's a lot of Airbnbs. There's cabins or houses up there that were being rented out for tourists decades before Airbnb. I know my parents were renting houses up there in the 90s to stay at. So there's lots of that, and there's beautiful views up there. There's lots of local artisans. Please try to support them if you can, and the local, craft shops. I want to support local. I think most of us try to, but we got off topic there. But anyway, so that's what I'm working on now. Hopefully, I will get some other things recorded. Like I said, I know I have one other pair of socks and I have a shawl on the needles. And I will get those I'll get those posted as well at some point in the next few weeks. And if I start a new pair of socks, because the other socks I have, I'm almost finished with the first sock. I was like, binding off is such an issue for me, whether I'm doing toe up or cuff down or anything. I just stress out at binding off still. I'm still new to knitting. I just started like last September. So doing cast on and bind off is very stressful for me. But I'm almost finished with the first sock on that pair. And again, I'm doing a forethought heel, is that I got to a certain point, I marked my heel, and I'll go back and put that heel in. And I've got the second sock. I've done the cast on so that can travel with me, because a sock is something small that I can put in my backpack or in my larger purse if I'm carrying that. And these are vanilla socks that don't require a pattern so much. Once I get started, once I get the toe started, just go. I do need to keep a tape measure with me so that I know I've gone far enough for the heel and then far enough ribbing. Um, these are your crew sock length. And they're, I'll show the yarn later. It's a Deborah Norville. It's some older acrylic yarn. I don't have I have a lot of acrylic yarn. I don't have a lot of wool yarn. I don't have a lot of sock yarn. I also started some amigurumi, and I'll show that next time as well. So thanks for joining me. If you will, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Leave a comment below about what I'm working on and what are you working on. Have a good day.